Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine, attacking today's podcast, at almost 2 o'clock this afternoon because, well, I fucking feel like it. Keep drinking the Kool Aid, fans. Keep drinking the Kool Aid. The way I look at it is it's so obvious when we're all being manipulated. Keep drinking the Kool Aid, because if you enjoy all of this reality TV world that we live in, where there is nothing that is true. I just had a good listener of the program tell me that DirecTV wouldn't lower their price, they jacked their price up and wouldn't bend on it for a long time customer. And so he dumped them. And basically, he was miffed. It's like, how could they do that? And it's like, well, on the one hand, you got a bunch of vultures who are just extolling this great capitalistic system we're in, where stock values go up. And of course, you can't afford AT&T stock. Now, can you? And your bill for DirecTV services or AT&T phone services or AT&T DSL keep going up. Now, I ask you, can you really sit there and tell me, oh God, it's great in the stock market, when everything that you're purchasing keeps going up in price? There's no inflation. Then tell me what's happening with healthcare. You see, keep drinking the Kool Aid, folks, because you're getting ass rammed. That's the bottom line. And somebody's making out like a bandit, but it ain't you. Okay? Every time you try to buy something and it goes up in price, and then some idiot on television says, yeah, but look at the stock market. What you do is you get a cramp in both hands. But the Kool Aid extends well beyond our political lives, because I don't really want to get into the politics part of this whole thing. But in our sports world, the Kool Aid is just as toxic, because the news that gets printed is not based on facts. But you see, more and more people are not moved by facts. They're governed by emotions. So the only thing that they have to peddle us are these weak sauce press companies like Cleveland.com, ESPN. We put them all in the same big basket. They expect you to just believe what they write. And even if you don't thoroughly believe, they want you to viscerally react emotionally to something that's patently false. And that's the Kool Aid they want you to drink. The NFL wants you to believe that the photograph of Tom Brady's MVP acceptance speech, that's just kind of, we have to prepare just in case it happens. If you want to drink the Kool Aid, folks, drink the fucking Kool Aid. But you know something? Nobody should cheer for a team that has such disrespect. I mean, even if they did prepare a speech in advance, which I'm sure, Tom Brady has plenty of press people that do that work for him, they could shove the paper in front of his face 5 minutes before he makes the statement, and he could read it off a fucking sheet of paper. Why is somebody carrying it around with them? Answer: because they're devoid of any accountability. They're so sure you're going to watch the Super Bowl and that you've drank their fucking Kool Aid that you're not even going to question what in the hell people are doing walking around with a copy of an MVP acceptance speech that hasn't been awarded yet. Now, I live in a time and lived in a time where credibility was kind of an important thing, where, presidents of the United States may have said things behind closed doors, but they didn't just come out and just call places shitholes, you know? Or representatives in Congress just literally selling their souls, obviously. I grew up in a time we didn't know that John F. Kennedy was banging Marilyn Monroe. He was, but we didn't know, okay? Because these things weren't reported. And even if it was true, people wanted to believe the best. Today, people want to believe the worst. And that's the difference. And they can sell whatever it is, that Kool Aid they're selling, you're going to drink it because you expect the worst. Case in point, LeBron James to the Golden State Warriors. Now, folks, that is not going to happen. And you know that I believe that LeBron will leave the Cleveland Cavaliers at the end of the season. And I'm 50% for just cause, and the other 50% because, well, he can get out before he is consumed in the implosion. But the Golden State Warriors, what makes a bigger story? A bigger lie, okay? A bigger lie. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump had affairs with a gazillion women. The story that the idiot Democrats want to push is that, oh, he fucked a porn star. Because you know something? It's more sensationalistic. And if you're one of those leftist people, you've drank that fucking Kool Aid. And it isn't enough just to criticize the president of the United States based on beliefs, based on what you think might happen. No, you have to accept a story that is preposterous. If you're the alt-right guy who is the equal of the alt-left guy, you drank the Kool Aid. You believed that Bill and Hillary Clinton were running a pedophile ring out of a pizzeria in D.C. Now, come on. Come on. I'll have an extra topping with that little boy. I mean, come on. There are so many true stories that could be researched that really would be of interest to the American public, and plenty of them in sports. But meanwhile, the Boston Celtics got Greg Monroe. They're not supposed to pay any attention to that. They paid him twice the money the Pelicans were going to pay him. And now they have a 27-year-old guy who's basically an 11-point and 8-rebound guy coming off their bench. You can drink the Kool Aid about parity in the NBA. You can drink all of that. You can drink look, the stars are choosing their own all-star team. You can drink that Kool Aid all you want. But the fact of the matter is only a couple teams in the league are getting better and the rest are getting worse. Or worse yet, teams that should be getting better, like the Milwaukee Bucks, really aren't getting better because they're stalled. Mid-market teams get stalled. Legitimate big-time player in Giannis out there. Big-time talent. And they could build something around him. But you know something? No. They're not going to do that. And the reason is it's fucking Milwaukee. That's Laverne and Shirley and Schatz Beer Brewery. Fuck Milwaukee. And fuck what made them famous. Because there ain't nothing in sports that made them famous. Hank Aaron couldn't make him famous, and he was the greatest long ball hitter of all time, legally. And you can believe whatever bullshit that Major League Baseball throws. Oh, no, baseball isn't juiced, and no, we didn't smooth out the ball, and that's why Corey Kluber's slider didn't break against the Yankees. If you want to drink all of this Kool-Aid, go for it. But you're dupes. You're fools. The fact of the matter is that the game is being controlled and mid-market teams really don't enter into the equation. Bad news for Cleveland fans, and it's why I keep saying over and over again, look, we won the championship of the NBA, and we did it legitimately in a Game 7 on the road, in a game where there was virtually no scoring in the last 4.5 minutes of the game. You know that they allowed both teams to play equally intense defense. Both teams were exhausted, and it came down to one team won and one team lost. And we spun the wheel and our name came up. And it's something that for 52 years, and the press really made us more than aware of the 52 years, that many people who are Cleveland fans would never see in their lifetime. And I saw it. You saw it too. But we are, after all, a mid-sized market. And when LeBron chooses to go someplace else, or the league reassigns him to go someplace else, things are going to collapse and crater in Cleveland. And what are the worst possible stories that you could come up with? Well, Dan Gilbert is going to pay Isaiah Thomas huge money to stay with the Cavaliers. Now, the guy averages a minus 25 when he's on the fucking floor with LeBron James. Oh, yeah, I want to see Isaiah Thomas without LeBron James with a bunch of nobodies on the floor in Cleveland. But you see, that's the Kool Aid they're selling. There's no truth to that. The Cavaliers are not going to give up a bunch of money. What's going to happen to the Cleveland Cavaliers is they're going to fade, as Mike Tyson once said, into Bolivian. They're going to totally disappear, just like they did the first time LeBron left, because they're a mid-sized market. No one's going to want to come here. Now you notice everybody's going to want to go to Boston. Everybody's always wanted to go to Golden State. People will consider going to Houston this year and will consider going to Oklahoma City. All right? In the East, they'll consider going to Boston, or Boston. But nobody's coming to Cleveland. The old movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? No one! No one's coming to fucking dinner in Cleveland because we've had our moment in the sun. And if you don't believe this and you want to believe all the NBA's talk about parity, ask the fans in Sacramento, ask the fans all over the country who keep cheering for their team, waiting for their number to come up when it is in no way, shape, or form historically a possibility that they've even been competitive. You look at teams, look at the Nets. My God, the fucking now Brooklyn Nets. That was the big hoist that they were given. They allowed them to move and call themselves Brooklyn. People in Brooklyn are looking to get out of Brooklyn. Please, that's not a selling point. That's the Kool Aid they're selling. So what's going to happen to the Cavaliers is they'll lose LeBron James, and, you know, pretty soon we're going to wind up with a collection of players truly worthy of a 20-62 season, because it happens to every mid-size market, every one of them. Nobody cares about Cleveland. We've been on television a gazillion times because LeBron James, and when LeBron James is gone, nobody's going to care about Cleveland. There is going to be no feel-good story because you've already experienced it. You experienced it along with 1.5 million people downtown, the ultimate feel-good story. And I don't mean to bring everybody down to earth and to be doggy downer. That's not my thing. But it bothers me how easily we believe bullshit that gets peddled our way when our eyes can see better. I always talk about the eye test, and that's really the thing that really just... Here's another one. Mike Holmgren says Brown's John Dorsey will get it going. I don't know. I mean, is this just a way to further aggravate the few people left who even have an interest in the Cleveland Browns? You dredge up the carcass of Mike Holmgren, you know, and I'll give you the Kool Aid. And I'm going to press this into the draft as well. Yeah, the Browns will get it going, Holmgren said. But you've got to find the quarterback. Once you find the quarterback, you can fix the other things. But you know something? That's what the last 74 GMs have said in Cleveland. I'm tired of this. Anyone can tell me, well, you know, if you find the next Tom Brady, ... I mean, So you're telling me that this guy, Mike Holmgren, knows something that the rest of us don't know? Fuck no. Then why are we writing a story about his sorry carcass? And the answer, because it upsets you. Because you can't not read it. Because you're like, oh, well, fuck Mike Holmgren. Yeah, we're going to find out where he lives. We're going to TP his house. That's what we're going to do. Once you find the quarterback. But he couldn't find the quarterback. Nobody in Cleveland has been able to find the quarterback. And we keep trying, and as Captain Kirk said to Khan in the first Star Trek Khan movie, you keep missing the target. My God. Khan! Okay, I had to get that out of my system too. I don't know, man. I don't know. These are all things, I mean, you just shake your head and say, somebody's desperate for attention. A child at a supermarket who's crying at the top of his lungs is desperate for attention. Well, Cleveland.com is desperate for attention if they start quoting Mike Holmgren about quarterback searches. I'm tired of all of it. Don't believe this shit. You can find the quarterback, and if he's behind the offensive line guys that you have, he won't be your quarterback for long. The Steelers found their quarterback, but they already had an offensive line. Take a look at how many times that Ben Roethlisberger was sacked in his rookie year. Don't drink the Kool Aid, folks. Oh, we got to get the quarterback. Well, you know something? You're going to get a quarterback, and he's not going to play right away. Because whatever veteran you're going to get, God help your soul, he's going to be a human piñata. He's going to get killed. He's going to get mangled so the young guy doesn't. And you're never going to know whether the young guy can play until 2 years from now when he gets the chance. And if he can't after 2 years, then you're 5 or 10 more years behind in the process. And all the Mike Holmgrenisms that you can come up with, oh, you got to find the quarterback. Meanwhile, the rest of your roster still fucking sucks. You still have nobody who can protect that quarterback, and you have no receivers, you see, that can break open into the field and catch the ball. We bring back Brian Hoyer. You know, what would we do without Cleveland.com? The ultimate sellers of Kool Aid. Just like the little 6th grade girl of the street corner selling Kool Aid in your neighborhood, there's Cleveland.com. Brian Hoyer. I really can't believe that Josh Gordon was impaired while we were playing, and maybe I can use that to my advantage to try to absolve myself for the 15 interceptions I threw. You know, it's like, fuck you. We don't want to hear from you because we remember what you were, Mr. Hoyer. Unwilling to accede to reality. You were the wrong quarterback to have around when there was a younger guy wanting to play. And look, I understand it was Johnny fucking Manziel, but hey, look, you know who was responsible for that and what management crew was responsible for that. Let's wreck this league. No. Let's wreck this franchise. The decisions made by the organization have killed the organization. That's what it is. Here's a headline for you that you're going to love. And I don't mean I'm bouncing around, I know. But these headlines are just ridiculous. Would Kemba Walker change the Cavaliers' course this season? Yes, it would go from one kind of intercourse to another. Kemba Walker. Hey, I'm down here. Hey, look at me. I'm Sandra Dee. No! There isn't anybody who's going to change the course of what's going to happen. It is like a murder premeditated. The statute of limitations and Flying J fraud case draws near. And this is what I was telling you all about. The window of time is closing for federal prosecutors to charge additional people in the rebate fraud. Prosecutors must file any new cases by April 15th at the end of the 5-year statute of limitations. For the most serious charge against an individual, an investigation, conspiracy to commit mail fraud and wire fraud. So, once we start narrowing all of this shit down, you're going to see more of Jimmy Haslam and his disgusting. Yeah, that's when you'll see Hugh Jackson let go. That's what that is. He's an African-American hating Tennessee, goddammit. If you don't see that, you're drinking the Kool Aid. It's all public relations, folks. It's all public relations. Oh. Do you really believe that it's going to be anybody else but Boston and Golden State in the finals? I've called it 5 years in a row. Does anybody else want to question that? Oh, my God. I hope you're not buying into any of this. Chuck Steak is in the chat room saying, is it true that LeBron wants to go to Golden State? I think you know the answer to that, Chuck. Maybe the NBA needs salary caps so there aren't teams full of superstars. I mean, let me explain something. And it's a good point, Chuck Steak. You're a tough guy. But I like chewing things over with you. Thank you. Forget it. Think of it this way. It makes all the sense in the world for teams to have salary caps so that talent would be distributed evenly across the league. But we don't want that in our lives. So why should we have that? Why should we have that in our sports? Don't you think that maybe the top 1% of billionaires could give up just a little of their compensation? And it would be such a small percentage, not for government funding, but for real people to have jobs, for real people to survive. Instead of spreading the talent around the league, hey, let's spread some of the wealth. Oh, you say that? Fuck no. Fuck no. We can't do that. That's not just and fair and equitable to the big corporations. That wouldn't be fair to them now, would it? But we want that in our sports because when you're in a mid-sized market and you're in the big middle class of the sports hierarchy, you would love to see some talent come your way. Do you realize how it would be great if when a LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, a Michael Jordan, or a Larry Bird came available, if they just ended up in a place that was just a mid-sized market and fans could enjoy seeing the greatest players of a generation play in their towns? Now, we can really relate to that in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio because we were lucky enough to get that, all right? But before that, the best we had was Brad Doherty and Mark Price, okay? And before that, the best it got was, ooh, my aching knees, Austin Carr. So, look, I agree. The NBA would need to do something to spread out the wealth. But nobody wants to accept that as a solution to our economic woes. And what we will end up running into is what we are now running into in Major League Baseball. This all ties in together. And Chuck, you are prescient. That's an SAT word. And being a cow as you are, that means that you are ahead of me. And there is a story that really relates to this. In Major League Baseball, the free agent market is slow, and a notable agent says there is a rising tide among players to boycott spring training. You see, here's the way it works, Mr. Chuck Steak. God forbid if we don't have these bidding wars for LeBron James and all the crazy Kool Aid stories that go with them, well, the players themselves would end up doing what Major League Baseball players are considering doing. Because if the owners can't make money, if the owners are going to collude in Major League Baseball to suppress the values of free agents, then the players will boycott to force them to pay more. All right? You're never going to have the fucking equality that you're hoping for, because if the NBA imposed those types of sanctions that would be, in essence, salary caps, the players, the NBA Players Association, would never agree to it. Because that would mean you could be one of those remarkable career players and wind up in Sacramento. And nobody wants that. The players don't want that. The owners don't want that. The league doesn't want that. Fuck Sacramento. If it breaks off and just plunges into the Pacific Ocean, fuck it. It's like Bakersfield, besides Buck Owens, who gives a flying fuck about Bakersfield? Who gives a flying fuck about Cleveland? Now you're starting to understand why we're losing ground. And who gives a damn about Boston? The league does. Everybody does. You know, you'd never know that they'd only won 2 of their last 7 games, these Celtics, because not a fucking thing written about it. Because that's not the Kool Aid they want you to drink. They want you to see the Hindenburg go down. They want you to see the Titanic sink. They want you to see the Cleveland organization go to hell so that it will become shit like it used to be. And then all the Cleveland jokes will come back and everything will be back to normal. And you swallow this swill and are a willing participant. You look at the names of the Major League Baseball players who aren't getting offers. Some of them make sense, some of them don't. All right? Here are some prominent players like Ryan Zimmerman, Robinson Cano, Jacob deGrom, Cespedes, Ian Desmond, Todd Frazier, Jason Vargas, Matt Belisle. All of these players remain unsigned in this free agent cycle. Besides Lorenzo Cain's 5-year, $80 million deal with the Milwaukee Brewers, who never do the right thing, that's the most lucrative deal of the offseason. Meanwhile, these names, Yu Darvish, Jake Arrieta, J.D. Martinez, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, and Alex Cobb are among dozens of free agents still looking for work. Nothing has happened for these people. And you would have expected for sure that Darvish would have found something, for sure that Moustakas would have found something. After a season, you would think that Hosmer would have found something and J.D. Martinez. And you would think that somebody would take a shot of Arrieta, even though Arrieta's best year is behind him. Still, you would think somebody would. But you see, there's yin and yang in all of this, folks. And I don't mean to make this overly complex, so I'll simplify it for people. The owners don't want to pay the money, the players want the money. And somewhere the truth falls somewhere in between. But every so often, one side or the other gets a wild hair up their ass to throw the needle over to their favor. So if the players are making more and more and more money, the Players Association is happy, but the owners are unhappy. If the owners can collude and get the players' salaries down and get some better values, you know. But then what ends up happening is the players don't say anything about a juice baseball because they all hit more home runs and it helps them all earn more money. And meanwhile, do you want to know, just like my friend who now can no longer afford DirecTV because they will not give him the price he used to get, your season ticket price goes up and up and up. You, Kool Aid drinker, are paying for all of this. You're paying for the Mike Moustakas when they get the big deal. And you're paying the owners when Mike Moustakas doesn't get the deal. Because they know you've drank the Kool Aid and you'll shell out the coin. Because you are lemmings. You will follow one president or another president over a cliff. And you know damn well what these people are doing is wrong, and you will follow them anyway. And there is no reason for these people to change their philosophy. There's no reason for the owners to stop being pigs and greedy. There's no reason why the players would stop being pigs and greedy. Because you're going to keep footing the bill, and the city that you live in, for Christ's sake, is going to continue to offer tax breaks to these schmucks. And that is the truth. And not because Stone Cold said so. So, here we go. Now we got General Dog here. I'm okay with what happens to the Cavs. It was never going to be a dynasty. We got a finals title, and we should be happy with that. You and I agree. Mike Holmgren has just been another fat fuck with an opinion. We agree. Brian Hoyer, who gives a flying fuck what he says or thinks? We agree. Guy's on his 8th NFL team for a reason. He sucks. We agree. Kyle Shanahan dumped his ass. We agree. Somebody should ask him about that shit, but that press won't do that because that would be some vindication for the fans who are footing the bill. If the Patriots had to play Brian Hoyer, they would be in big trouble. We agree. All right. Obviously, General Dog has not drank the Kool Aid. So there you have it, folks. I hope I've explained all of this to you in the most simplistic ways that I can. And these stories do all have a convergence. It's implicit that fans believe that all of this is real, that all of it is important. Folks, it's entertainment. News should not be entertainment. News should be truth. All right. Our government should be truth, not entertainment. Our sports should be entertainment. But with entertainment should come at least the integrity and the honesty to run a fair ship. And to at least try to have the fairest situation in our supposedly capitalistic, competitive world to allow the Sacramentos to have an equal chance to the Bostons and to the Golden States. That would be the ideal thing. But until you guys wake up and tell the world that you're not going to support unfair circumstances that just tip the tide over to people who already have vast advantages, it's never going to change. It's never going to stop. There will be 4 NBA teams. There will be 3 NFL teams. There will be the New York Yankees, the New York Yankees, and the New York Yankees, which God only knows with Brian Cashman in charge. Oh, Major League Baseball tried for the better part of a decade to get that franchise back on its feet, and they just kept spending more money on lousy free agents, and they finally got it done for the New York Yankees, who you say to yourself, God, how in the hell could they have the revenue they have and the market that they have? And how could they have failed for so long? But you see, instead, you're just going to focus on the 1-31 Cleveland Browns. You're going to focus on the Browns instead of the last 10 years of the New York faggoty-ass Yankees because you drank the Kool Aid. And nobody's writing, what, is Brian Cashman fucking brain dead? No, they're going to write that he's the general manager of the decade now because of the players he's got. 2 cramps. That's the way it works. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. Hey, the Super Bowl's coming up. You want me to pick a winner? Thanks for tuning in. Go Philadelphia. At all costs, go Eagles. And I will go as far as saying that if a guy and a team is carrying around his MVP acceptance speech in clear view of the fucking public, hit him late and take him out. If he's going to give his fucking acceptance speech, let it be in a body bag. Fuck him. Fuck Tom Brady and Gisele Bundchen and all of this fucking reality bullshit. Fuck it once and for all. Go low and take him out. Make it the last game he plays, so it's the last goddamn fucking speech we have to hear from him. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I'll be back again to clean up this mess on Monday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastorheads. Have a good Friday, good rest of the day, and a great weekend. Bye-bye.